Hey there, I am Cal, and welcome back to another Art PG video. This is episode 2, and so if you are here for episode 2, that is awesome. Today we're going to be looking at a character that I just recently, fairly recently designed, but just did a finished piece for. This is going to be Clutch, the android. He's a bounty hunter, assassin, mercenary, whatever shoe fits. And so I'm really happy with this design. I hope you like it too. Well, let's go ahead and get started. So starting off here, I just started kind of doodling a pose that I had seen a reference for that really got me pretty excited. I had found a painting of this cowboy that was making this really kind of crazy pose with his spine. Kind of looked like he was maybe dodging a bullet or maybe just making a cool stance, but definitely looked really surreal as far as something that a human would be doing. But I thought it would be really cool to kind of adapt for this android character Clutch. And so you can see I put that kind of like spine curve in there. And I thought that that would kind of display maybe a kind of villainous, also kind of cowboy vibe to him. And so after getting that pose down and sketching it out, I got really excited about this drawing. Clutch is a character that I actually came up with a couple months ago. Um, I had been playing a lot of tabletop RPGs and, creating a lot with my friends. And I just found at a certain point that I had been doing a lot of art that wasn't necessarily for me. Like, it was for me, I was enjoying it, but I was drawing NPCs for the game, or I was drawing my friends' characters, and I just kind of reached a point where I was like, I haven't drawn a character or designed a character that is about what I like, about what gets me excited, and so what would that look like? And so I sat down one day and I did a couple thumbnail sketches and just kind of started playing with shapes and different concepts that I thought up, and probably did 10 or 12 of these just little colorful guys. And I remember one of them really sticking out to me, this kind of cowboy robot guy in this little crouched stance. I'll put it up on the screen if I can find that image. But yeah, that just kind of got stuck in my head, and I was sketching that character a lot, and got to a point where I was ready to draw it. And so I did. I drew a digital art of this guy. I named him Clutch. Decided that he was a bounty hunter, and in the months since, he's just kind of stuck with me. I've been really excited about this guy, and yeah, I don't know. I for episode 2 of RPG Art PG, I was just like, why not? He's very core to me as an artist right now. I've been drawing him a lot, and so why not show him off a little bit and see if I can do kind of a different or maybe even better rendition of him after a few months of sketching him a lot. And so that was that. As far as the original design, what really was the moment that it kind of clicked for me was coming up with the idea that he's kind of got that outlaw cowboy vibe where the brim of the hat is always down over his eyes, and what I thought would be kind of funny and cool was if his eyes were actually in like the top of his hat above the brim, and so when it looks like he's doing that, he's actually like looking right at you. And I thought that was just kind of funny and maybe a little just interesting, and also was something that wouldn't really work in real life. Like, it would look pretty awkward for a character to or a person to have a hat like that was like pulled down over their head and had little holes cut out in it. But as far as the art is concerned, you can just draw little eyes on the hat, and as long as you don't think about it too much, it looks cool. It's just a design thing. It doesn't have to make sense. It's a drawing of like a comic style character. And so seeing that added onto the design, I was just like, yes, something about this is like really kind of cool to me. And there's a lot that I can do with that and play with to kind of have a good time and have fun. So I'm excited to bring him to the channel, bring his kind of new look that I've come up with here. I've been really trying to nail down his design features and make sure that it's not too busy, and figure out, what are the colors that work really well in this character and kind of help me tell a little bit about his personality. Like I said, he's a bounty hunter, but also as his idea has developed, he's also a treasure hunter, an assassin, a mercenary. Basically, any way that he can get his hands on some money quickly, he's down. He's very skilled, but more than anything, he's greedy. That's kind of his deal, and so yeah, I tried to play with that kind of concept a lot in the design. Um, and so that's been really cool. And we'll see as we kind of get into it here. But I'm really happy with how he has developed over the past couple months. He's definitely a lot of the key components of the character are there, but I think that I have really kind of streamlined his look, and he's a lot better for it. But we'll do maybe a little comparison at the end and see if you agree with me. But yeah, episode 2 of RPG, finally making it. Hasn't been too long, but definitely longer than I would have liked. I was really excited after making the first video. It was just fun to accomplish, and I'm really excited for the idea of the future of this channel, just being able to kind of, record stuff like this, a little bit of my process, and also just kind of a milestone of where I'm at as an artist right now. It'll be fun to look back on in the future. But anyway, I sat down maybe after a week after the first one was published, and I did another recording, and I hated it. I hated that art so much. I did something I do a lot when I'm just trying to come up with new character ideas, but I wrote a list of a bunch of attributes and different like categories, like what is this character, a human, a robot, an alien, what's their occupation, what's a detail about them, and then I just like rolled some dice to see like what interesting combination I could come up with, and I liked the idea I had a lot. I'm trying to remember. I think it was like a cyborg musician kind of thing that was like living on the street or something like that, and so I had this idea for a girl that had these like robot arms that were attached to her back that she would like play guitar with, and the idea was cool, and I may still try to draw her. But anyway, got into the drawing, and I was like, wow, I am not happy with this at all, and so I found that pretty discouraging, and part of me wishes that I'd just gone ahead and posted that and finished the video, but at the same time, I do believe that, you don't have to finish everything that you make as a creator. Like, you can decide early on, like, this isn't really working for me, I think I'm going to try something else. And so, yeah, I decided to scrap that idea, and it took me a little while to come up with this one, but now that I have finished the drawing, I'm really happy with this idea for episode 2. I think that Clutch is a bit more indicative of the kind of vibe that the art on my channel should be, at least according to me. But yeah, very, very fun drawing. I'm getting into the line work here. This drawing took me, I think, like probably over 3 hours with the sketching, the line art, the background, coloring, editing, everything like that. So wasn't a quick one. I think Toby was a lot faster for episode 1. But yeah, like I said, I'm really happy with this. It kind of, as far as the style, and it's probably not too apparent yet, but there was I wish I could remember the artist's name because he's so iconic, but it's the Samurai Jack guy. His Clone Wars series that released right before Star Wars Episode 3 was super influential to me as a kid. I loved those cartoons a ton, and he just has such a way of like really sharp, bold lines for his characters, and the designs are just super straightforward and simple but super effective. I remember just what the Jedi wear, the different like droid designs. He just had a way of like taking something from the movie and simplifying it and keeping the key components of the design and somehow making it like cooler, just with how angled it was, how the shapes work together. It was awesome. And so as I kind of got closer to finishing this drawing, I was kind of like, I can see where that influence is kind of popping in for me here, and that got me pretty excited. definitely went with a much more angular kind of design for this version of Clutch. But yeah, I'm hopeful to make some more projects that revolve around this guy, as well as bring other characters to the channel that kind of fit in this world that I've been playing with. I have considered doing some maybe some stickers or something of this guy. I definitely, I think I don't have my sketchbook around here, but I throw up stickers on my sketchbook, and so I like kind of designing, or the idea of designing my own and having those on there. So let me know if you would like a sticker. That's definitely something I could get to you. But yeah, definitely excited by the vibe of this world, this kind of space sci-fi cowboy western fantasy thing. I've got a couple other characters that are like astronaut knights, or like this kind of like robot executioner guy, and so I'm really excited to make some finished drawings of those characters and get those on the channel as well. Not all of my drawings obviously are going to make it onto the channel, because I'm not going to make a video for all of them, but if you are interested, you can check out my Instagram. I post most of what I make there. You can see here on the screen, over to the side there is part of a sketch that I did of Clutch. I was kind of looking at it to remind myself of what I've kind of landed on as far as the details of this character, but this sketch I posted to Instagram, and I was really happy with this pose. There you can see the whole thing now. So yeah, if you're interested in that kind of thing, kind of seeing stuff beyond just the videos that I make here, that is something that you can do. Check that out. So yeah, getting pretty close to, or at least, yeah, kind of close to the end here. Adding in some spine details on his little metallic spine. I'm really happy with how his overall design is turning out. I think I've kind of landed on sort of his finished design, and there's a lot to it that I'm really happy with. I really like the kind of shape of his rib cage. I definitely want to do some drawings in the future of him like with the jacket off, and I think throughout whichever story he ends up being in, I picture him as kind of a, in the bounty hunter role, chasing down the heroes of the story, as kind of this ever-present threat that is just kind of always there. And I think as he's kind of chasing them down, he's getting more and more like haggard, and his costume's kind of falling apart. One design I did for him, he kind of has a poncho, and so I was like, maybe he gets to a point where his jacket gets so ripped up that he just like turns it into a poncho, and I think that's kind of a cool look for him. I think the fact that he wears clothes at all and clearly has so much interest in like style, kind of shows a lot about his character. He's vain and greedy for sure, as I've said, and just the fact that he's just so interested in his look with the hat and the coat, and like this persona of this like cowboy hunter is just pretty funny. I also had an idea for when his hat actually comes off. He's obviously got just like his robot skull underneath, but I think at one point he had some type of damage done to him, and like is missing the back casing or the top part of his skull, and so underneath the hat he's just got a bunch of like exposed circuitry and wire and stuff, and I just had this image in my head of this very like visceral moment of him like taking off the hat in frustration and like scratching his wiring like it was his hair, and I don't know, that image just gives such a feeling to me. And so anyway, there's a lot of images like that for this character that I'm excited about, and I'm really interested in the future in incorporating him into some stories, maybe as a recurring character, or maybe a one-off thing. But that's kind of my goal for this channel, is to build into bigger and bigger projects that I could actually share with you. And if you're interested, you could check out and see some more finished format stories of these characters that you've kind of seen some of them coming to fruition. So that's kind of cool, and at the very least, it'll be very cool for me to look back on and see these characters come to life. But yeah, it feels good for Clutch to kind of be the first of these characters that I'm like, he feels like I'm getting there, you know, like he's reaching his final form, and of course that's subject to change as much as I'd like, but yeah, it feels good to have a character that I've grown so fond of drawing. You can see over in the sketch there, he's got a little antenna that sticks out of his hat, and I love drawing these little like buzzing lightning bolts, like he's getting some type of signal or maybe sending one out or something. I think that could lend itself to some really cool imagery. But yeah, Clutch the android, Clutch the bounty hunter, getting his colors in now. I pretty early on decided that he's kind of like a gold-plated android. I think that speaks even more to like his vanity and his greed. He's just so interested in looking like he is, I guess, rich or like valuable, and yeah, just overall very egotistical character. And so in the future it'd be really cool to actually write some of his dialogue and figure out, you know, how does this character talk and that kind of thing. But as I've mentioned, one thing I'm really interested in is tabletop RPGs, and so I do a lot of that with some friends of mine. And I've never really been one for diving into like the books and the lore of like Dungeons and Dragons. I really pretty early on, probably like before college, stumbled across the concept and was just like, that's really cool. Let's get those rules and then let's throw everything else out. Let's make our own world. Let's make our own characters, make our own story. And that has been super rewarding. And there's some downsides to that for sure. Like for instance, the Dungeons and Dragons movie came out a while ago now, and I remember watching that and being like, I'm missing a lot. There's a lot of like references here and like lore references that I don't pick up on, but what I gain from that is just so cool. Like having something with my friends that's truly unique and built for us. That's just been super fun. And so I'm not exactly sure how I'm going to incorporate that kind of element of my interests into the channel. I definitely would like to. I have made kind of my own rule set for tabletop RPGs. I find it just really streamlined, great for beginners. I love bringing in players that have never played before and kind of showing this game style to them. And so yeah, maybe I'll do a video kind of walking through those rules, or maybe how to build a story with your characters or in these worlds that you create, because I've definitely done a lot of thinking about that and written a lot of notes on it just for myself, and so there's a lot there to go through. But yeah, at the very least, it's cool to come up with these characters and then have them and their designs in my back pocket to like put in front of my players at some point and be like, this is the character you run into, and like have their background and their design and everything developed for the game. Anyway, back to the art here. Finishing up with some shading. This still feels, and not that I expect all that much of a change from, 2 months ago or whatever it was that I did the first video, but I struggle a bit with lighting. I'm happy with how this came out, but it's still something that I would like to see more growth in the future, and that just comes from lack of practice at the moment. I do a lot of sketching, and I can see that I'm having a lot of growth when it comes to just character design and basic anatomy, making sure that proportions are somewhat correct so that it looks like a person or a humanoid in front of you. But yeah, I definitely don't practice as much actually finishing a piece and bringing color to it and looking into color theory and color's relationships to each other. That's something I'd like to learn a lot about. But that being said, I kind of just first of all had an idea of what this character's colors would be, and from there kind of threw some colors down and made some changes as I went, and I am pretty satisfied with this guy's look at the moment. The kind of brown red jacket, the bright red handkerchief, bandana, and then these really kind of bright, shiny elements that really show off his robotic nature, and then underneath the dark brimmed hat, of course. Um, Very, very fun character. I'm excited to do more with him and have him interacting with some other characters that I've drawn. But I think we have reached the end here. And so definitely once this wraps up, I will put on the screen a full image of this with the background that I did. I didn't have enough time to show drawing the background in this video, but I'll throw that up there with the original image that I did of Clutch here, and we can see how much he has changed. But there he is. Pretty happy with the background here as well. I like that kind of red moon behind him. I ended up changing the color of that. It was blue originally, but I think it makes a bit more of a pop behind him. But yeah, like I said, definitely a pretty angular, more simplified design than the original, as you can see. And so, anyway, if you made it this far into the video, thank you so much. That means a lot to me, first of all. And if you decided to subscribe to the channel or like, thank you very much for that. That's huge. And so, yeah, I'm really excited to do this, and if you are along for the journey with me, that's really cool. So, I guess that's it. I will see ya in the next one, maybe in a week, maybe in 2 months. Bye.